rowdy, this is technically an insurrection. So I am proud to be with you to fight against the worst governor in America. I am proud to fight for the greatest president we've had. And I am proud to endorse Vin Cruzamente for Congress to win this seat back in the Central Valley. And it seems I brought my own little No Kings protest outside. I sort of felt bad for them. It's colder outside. It had rained earlier. I didn't know what would make them more comfortable. I sent them about 10,000 of Anthony Fauci's masks, thinking that they could each wear 3 or 4 of them. We sent some vaccines outside, so each could take 5 or 6. And they say it's no kings, which after seeing the crowd, I believe, but there were a few queens. The gentleman in the high heels and the lady with the Adam's apple were lovely. There is a perception around the country that that's the real California. But I know something better. I have a special connection to this state. My wife grew up here. My brother-in-law makes a business here. There are 8 million Republicans in California, and we cannot leave them behind. We will fight for every last one of them to defeat Proposition 50 and to send better members to Congress. I am so excited at what I'm seeing from President Trump. If you look at the core promise President Trump made, he would secure the border, rescue the economy, and stop the crazy. And if we just did those things, we would have an opportunity to live better lives and to fulfill the American prosperity that is our destiny. So much of what we endured before was lonely and sad and kind of doddering around the Rose Garden lost with Joe Biden. This is a country that builds things, grows things, makes things, is ambitious. It is the greatest country that has ever existed in the history of the world, and we can't hand it over to the leftists and the woke-topians. And so look, I was up there in Congress when that Mayorkas guy would show up every week and say, well, we just can't solve this border. We can never figure it out. It is an unsolvable problem. And that was a lie, and it was so deeply crooked. President Trump got in office, and within a matter of weeks, the border was secure. We have order, we have control, and we are running the largest deportation in American history to advance the rule of law. And we don't do that. We don't do that because we hate the people on the outside. We do that because we love the people on the inside. That's okay. We don't have to apologize for loving our fellow Americans and not wanting to see our country overrun. Now, there will always be very meaningful parts of the immigrant experience that we will cherish, but you cannot just let 20 million people come in unchecked, unknown, and unsafe in many circumstances to our fellow Americans. But it wasn't enough that he sealed the border. Right away, he got to the economy. And this is what is so inspiring about Vin's message. You see, we don't just want the policies that are good for us. Actually, we want the policies that are good for them too. Because if the economy's better, if job creators are more optimistic about their future, if money is actually accessible for people to be able to pursue their dreams, build their businesses, hire more, pay more, then that means it's rising water that lifts all of the boats. And that's kind of what's special about Trump's America. I remember a version of republicanism that was all about every little wedge issue. Could we say something that would get you just on the other side of us on one thing or another? And President Trump came in and said, we are going to make America great again. Not red America, not just parts of America. We are going to make all of America succeed. And that is something we need more in this state. Knowing the people of California as I've come to do, I don't understand this. Why does your governor hate you? I don't understand. And that's the only explanation, by the way. It is the only explanation, because if he didn't hate you, he would put the fires out. Is that too much to ask? Like in Florida, when we turn on the fire hydrant, it works and water comes out. Like you don't turn on the fire hydrant and get excited like it's a slot machine that pays when something comes out, but you let the homeless mess with it, you let the vagrants mess with it. And when the people of California reasonably came forward and said, we will indebt ourselves just to go build the reservoirs so that we will have the resources to be able to provide the food and to be able to take care of our needs and to be able to care for our farms. And he didn't do it. And you know why he didn't build the reservoirs? Is because he said, well, there might be some environmental consequences. Well, what do you think the environmental consequences were when everything was burning and on fire? And I spent a lot of time down in the San Diego area, but what they called border fires were not border fires. Those were fires started by illegal immigrants, and you don't see those anymore because President Trump has sealed the border. He also must hate you because there's just a lack of competence in how you do things. We experience natural disasters in Florida, and we kind of judge our governors harshly by it. Any party, Republican or Democrat, you got to show up and do the right thing during the hurricanes, during the fires. If, God forbid, folks got out of the prison. But it seems as though your governor is more interested in some sort of national cosplay as like AOC's sidekick than he is actually caring for your needs. And so the answer to that is you have to wake up. People in this state have to realize this is a land of boundless natural resources, the most temperate climate in the hemisphere, and you deserve leaders like Vin who will actually go and fight for you. And it won't be easy, because Congress is corrupt. When I first got there, I said there was a committee I really wanted to be on. And the leader sat me down and said, well, if you want to be on that committee, you have to have $75,000 to the party boss's funds within the next 10 days. Power, bought and sold, lobbyists having the ability to direct how people vote or what their views are. I believe that the way to clean up Congress is to follow the guideposts set by President Trump. Elect business people, enforce term limits, don't let members of Congress become lobbyists or registered foreign agents, and ban members of Congress like Nancy Pelosi from trading individual stock. If we just did those things, there would be times you elected folks you agreed with and folks you disagreed with, but at least you would know when they went and cast their vote that they actually believed it. There was something that they cared about. And then you would have the opportunity through elections to enforce the true will of the people. And that's what this whole Prop 50 thing is all about. Democrats can't win fair majorities and fair elections. And so they don't want a situation anymore where the voters are picking the leaders. They actually want the politicians picking their voters. And that's about the craziest thing I could ever think of from a political movement that spent the last 4 or 6 years trying to lecture the rest of us about how we were a danger to democracy. Isn't that something? But we will only get these things if we send better people, and that's why I'm excited to support Vin's campaign. We've had enough folks up there who've signed the back of a paycheck. We need more folks like President Trump who've actually signed the front of a paycheck, and that's what Vin's life experience shows. We've got enough folks that are just trying to move up to the next rung on the ladder, because if that's what they're trying to do, that's what they'll always try to do. Politicians care about 3 things: getting elected, getting reelected, and getting elected to higher office. And you may see some of those even on the Republican side in this contest. But I will cast my lot with someone who has spent their life building up businesses, building up communities, supporting the activists who are for our education freedom and our healthcare freedom, our medical freedom, our freedom to make our own decision regarding our property rights and our land. The best voice you can have is Vin, right alongside President Trump's side, right alongside J.D. Vance's side, and that is the way California matters again. Now, you may not have heard, but we got some bad news out of Indiana today. Indiana had an opportunity to redraw their maps as well in response to this terrible action that we're seeing in California. And we got the report that the Republicans don't have the spine and don't have the votes, and so they won't redraw their maps. They've decided to be Midwest nice in the face of one of the most challenging things we've seen to the rights of the voters in modern times. And so I give a lot of speeches around the country, and I speak to a lot of folks who will say to me, Matt, how do I actually help? Me, personally. And sometimes they live in a real red jurisdiction. Sometimes they don't have a contest that's going to decide the balance of power. So I've got to tell them, you might have to send a donation to someone outside your area. You might have to make some phone calls for people in a state 2 states away. You don't have that problem here. You are right in the center of the race that was the closest race in all of America. All eyes are going to be on this contest. So 1 hour of your time, $100 of your donations here has 10 times the value, 20 times the value that it might have in another place. And so here's what we got to show them. They went too far this time, trying to play games with the maps, trying to rob the people of their choice of a representative. The political violence that we have seen directed at our ICE and our Border Patrol, the assassination of Charlie Kirk, the things that they have said and tried to do to our president, you have to have had enough. You deserve better than this. And so I'll leave you with this story from the campaign trail in the last contest. I was out in New Hampshire, which was a lot colder than this during the New Hampshire primary. My California wife had some very choice words for me. And we were out there, and I was all cold, and I go into this coffee shop, and this barista comes out. She says, Congressman Gaetz, you have to take a picture for my boyfriend. He's going to be so mad he didn't work today. He's one of your biggest fans. He would have loved to have met you. I said, all right, we can take a picture for your boyfriend, but are you sure you'll get out there and actually vote for President Trump? Oh yeah, I'll vote for him. And I said, if we send this to your boyfriend, are you going to make sure that he actually gets out there and votes for President Trump? And she said, Congressman, I am so for President Trump, I'm not just going to get my boyfriend to vote for him, I'm going to get all of my ex-boyfriends to vote for him. And so I need you to go into this campaign against Prop 50 with the spirit of that barista. I need you to bring that energy to Vin's campaign and the campaigns up and down the ballot here, because if it's too big to rig, if we lower our shoulder, the bottom line is there are more of us than there are of them in this country. And they know it, and they're scared of it, and they should be. Let's go get them. Thank you all so much.